in the pits. It looks like they're going 4 wide to 5 wide, but they're side by side. Connor is sideways, absolutely sideways in the last few corners. Oh, but he's up in the gravel and he spins. Rob has made a bit of a dive. It actually hits teammate Craig, and so they've all got stuck in the gravel. And Joe gets the switch back. That's fantastic racing. Look at that. Contact, but it's Rubbings Racing. Joe McCall takes his first ever win just ahead of Connor. A fantastic race. He's going to take 6th, or is it? Oh, he just gets him. And is Darren going to take it? No, he doesn't. Mark Nichol takes the race. Josh is the Independence champion for Season 3. Craig Kellett is your Season 3 winner and champion. Hello and welcome to the KTTC Online Touring Car Championship. My name is Tom, and as always I'll be your commentator. You join us here at Dragon Trail in Croatia for round 4 of Season 4 for Group A. The 3.2 mile circuit is a firm favourite with its fast corners and tight bus chicane, and it'll be a 13 lap race for all of the 3 races. Some news that has just come in here pre-Dragon Trail event. From round 3 at Interlagos, the footage was reviewed and found that Alex McCready for Team Speedy in the Lexus RCF for all 3 races was cutting the corner for the first chicane. The video clearly shows that Alex was cutting the corner to gain an advantage and actually gained some positions through this. Alex McCready has been deemed to be racing illegally and has been disqualified from all the results, including the Renault Megane Cup race from Interlagos, and is now on final warning for Dragon Trail here onwards. In the entry list then, it's a 14 car grid with 2 cars missing. Luke Knox in the Nissan GTR has not entered for the 2nd round in a row, and Mark Nichol unfortunately can't make it for this particular event. In the tyre ballast situation then, Darren, Gary and Craig will have to use the medium tyres for the one race, and Tom, Mark and Mike Comer for the first time will have to use the soft tyres. Everyone else will be on the super softs, so let's find out who is on pole position for the first race. It's the Team Redeem front row locker then here for race 1, as Harry Cook gets his first ever pole position next to Darren Parker in their Mazda Atenzas. Row 2 is Mike Comer in the VW Scirocco for MCR Storm next to Mike Kuipers in the K&N Fox Racing VW Scirocco. Row 3 is Tom Foster in the KTTC Racing Renault Megane next to the Ford Mustang of Craig Kellett for Elliott Racing. Row 4 is Gary Black in the VW Scirocco for MCR Storm next to Kieran Thomas in the KTTC Racing Renault Megane. Row 5 is Joe Burrows for the HB Motorsports Hyundai Genesis next to Alex McCready in his Lexus RCF. Row 6 is the second of the HB Motorsports Hyundai Genesis of Stephen Heath next to Rob Pellet in the Elliott Racing Ford Mustang. And at the back row of the grid we've got Joe McCall in an Nissan GTR for Team Snap-on, and of course Daniel Stewart in the second of the Lexus RCS for Speedy Motorsport. Okay, here we go then. Race 1 for Dragon Trail, and Team Redeem have the front row lockout. What can they do from here? And away they go. It's a good start for both the Mazdas, and it's a great start for Craig. We're already up really close behind Darren here, and it looks like Harry's got the advantage as he just slots ahead of Darren. Everyone else seems to get away quite cleanly, and into the first corner Craig is looking up the inside of Darren, and he's got the job done. So Craig is up to 2nd already, Darren's down to 3rd, Stephen Heath is up to 4th, and then we've got Mike Comer 5th, Joe Burrows 6th, and then everyone else is behind him. Tom has got up on the outside of Joe here, and Mike has gone on the inside, so a double overtake there. Joe is pushed down to 8th position as they all go up the hill, down the hill into the fast left right S's. So further up the pack then, and Craig is very, very close here to Harry already, and we're only halfway through the first lap. So this is good for Harry, who got his first ever pole position for this race. Could he get his first ever win? And he's getting that much closer to it, race after race. And of course it will be a great victory when he does take it, but of course he's got to contend against Craig in this one so far. Quick through the chicane there. Everyone else gets through cleanly. So Tom is right close here behind Mike Comer, and holds off as Mike and Stephen Heath go side by side round the corner. A little bit of a touch there, but Heafy slots in just behind Mike, so Mike is making progress up to 4th and could push on to Darren now. Further down, Rob Pellet is in a decent 8th position so far. Joe down to 9th, Alex McCready in the top 10, and Kieran's dropped down quite dramatically into 11th. He did qualify quite well, but whoa, that's Joe Burrows. So Joe looked like he was tag slapping the car, and unfortunately he has spun into the barriers, and I think he's now down the back. Yeah, look at that. That's a shame for Joe. We'll have a look at the replay and find out what happened to Joe. Yeah, some work to do for Joe. So back up at the front then, Harry's still leading, and Craig is right on the back side of him and looking very, very racy. He's really put the pressure on. Harry is holding on really well though, defending hard. And there's a move from Craig. He's on the inside, and Darren is going to try and support Harry as much as he can here, but at the moment it's looking like Craig. Oh no, he slots back in, so he's in the Team Redeem sandwich here. Look how quick they go through there. After a few seasons of practice, it becomes much, much easier. So Craig on the inside, and I think he's got it done this time, and that's a much better overtake from Craig this time. So Craig Gallett is leading this race now. Team Redeem are pushed back to 2nd and 3rd. It's still good, and it's still on the podium for them, but of course that's not what they wanted. Team Redeem looking really, really strong here at Dragon Trail. Of course they are leading the teams championship, and if they continue with this performance and get these kind of results, then they are going to boost their lead into the next rounds at Bathurst Mount Panorama, which of course is the halfway point of the season, round 5 of the 10-round season. So it's definitely moving quickly now. So further down, Mike Comer is still progressing on. Has got away from Heafy and Tom here as they battle it out round the S's. And there's already a bit of a gap here between Tom and Rob, so things have settled quite quickly in this race as they both go into the bus chicane. Further up, it's still Craig in the lead, Harry in 2nd, Darren in 3rd. Oh, there's a bit of contact there from Alex. He hits the wall, but further up, Kieran is making a move on Rob, and Mike also looking to make a move. So Rob is going to lose 2 positions here, but he gets the cut back, and that's really good racing there from Rob, as he only loses the 1 position to Mike, but he gets it back against Kieran. And as Kieran tries to battle it out with Rob, he's lost 2 positions from Mike and now from Gary. So Gary is fighting down much further in the pack here than we're used to seeing. There's a great start from Gary in the start of the season, but Dragon Trail here is proving to be not one of his strongest circuits. There's a little bit of contact there, but Rob is pushed down into the palms of Alex McCready here. So So unfortunate for Rob, who had a fairly promising start there, and he's down to 10th of all places. So Alex, there's a bit of a push there from Alex, but he gets past Rob, pushes Rob down to 11th, literally, as Alex goes up to 10th position. Further down, Joe McCall is in 12th position, and Joe is trying to make up for the mistake he made earlier. And of course Daniel Stewart struggling around here at the moment in the second of the Lexuses. Further up at the tail end of the pack here then, and Craig is still leading, but Harry is really putting the pressure on. So Craig is not running away with it like he's done in previous seasons, let's say, as Harry is going to make a move, and he's gone for it on the inside, and he's got the lead back, but Craig is on the outside and he's pushing back. This is fantastic racing. Darren's going to get involved here potentially. He's got the slipstream, so he's going to make it. No, he doesn't. He's going to slot in behind. I thought he was going to make it 3 wide. So Craig is under immense pressure here from both the Mazdas, and this is the last thing he wants, is both of them working together. Darren has gone up to 2nd, Harry's pushed down to 3rd, but of course they're going to be working together to get past that Mustang, sorry, of Craig. Craig is obviously the biggest threat at the moment to Darren, other than Gary, who is at the moment struggling much further down in the pack. So Darren needs to stop Craig from getting points, and of course Darren no doubt is going to want Craig to not score the points because he's won season 2 and season 3, and Darren has been so close to winning his first championship for pretty much all of the seasons, and he's yet to take his first title. So with the lead that Darren's got so far, he's going to want to hold on to it right till the end, and stop Craig from taking it away from him to take his triple title win this season. Notice though how Mike Comer is really catching up, and of course Mike Comer has really impressed this season as a newcomer, joining Gary Black as the MCR Storm teammate. Look at the pace he's got on the back of Harry. So Harry was our pole sitter, now under threat from losing that podium position. So that VW Scirocco looking really strong. Not only that, you've got Tom Foster and Mike Kuipers here looking fairly strong, and they're not too far behind either. So Mike has made some real progress up to the back end of Tom, and I think we've lost Stephen Heath. So Heath's gone down somewhere. He's not even in 7th, he's not in 8th. We'll have a look, find out where he is, and maybe potentially he's had an off. So we'll see if we've got any videos of Heath or not. So we've got some footage here of Heath as he goes through the bus chicane. I wonder if he's going to hit the walls. Oh yeah, he does. Yeah, and the bus chicane takes another victim. On board with Heath. Let's see where he went wrong. Just the exit's just too wide, and he goes into the wall. So Mike on the outside here of Tom. Whoa, he's got him on the inside, and he's going to get the job done. Potentially not quite, no. So Tom stays in 5th position as they go down to the S's. And it's a fast dash up and over the crest here, down into the tight right-hander and into the bus chicane. So of course Mike Comer now right on the back of Harry still, and Darren Parker is making a dive for the lead, and I think he's got it. So Darren Parker leads this race. He does. So Darren is leading ahead of Craig. The 4 of them going really fast through the chicane, and Mike again looking really pacey as he goes through the chicane, and he's got so much more pace than Harry into the hairpin. and up to the start of lap 7. So already the laps are counting down. It's gone past so quickly in this first race. Tom looking like he wants to tag onto the back end of this pack here, but not quite, as the gap is too big so far, as he needs to really get the toe to be able to catch up. The 4 of them then into the first corner, and the leader of course at the moment is Darren, but it's going to change lap after lap if it stays like this. Harry still in third, holding on here as he tries to battle it out with Craig, but at the same time he needs to make sure he doesn't make too many mistakes, as Mike Comer looking really racy behind him. Let's go on board with Craig. Pack racing is so close here. Not one wants to make any kind of mistake here, as it will be catastrophic, and you'll see the positions drop dramatically if you do. Any mistakes here by any of these 4 will potentially lose out to Tom and Mike further down. And there it is. There's a slight wall tap from Craig, and it's a bit of a brush, but it's not a contact, so that's going to slow him down. So Craig's down to third now. The Team Redeems back up to a 1-2 here, but of course it's going to be super close right down to the wire. So Tom has gapped Mike a little bit and is on his way still to catch up. Further down then we've got Kieran and we've got Gary Black. So Gary is up to 8th, but it's still not going to be a great points haul for him in the title fight with Darren and Craig. So he's now potentially under threat from Craig getting past him in the standings. Gary openly admits that this is not one of his strongest circuits, probably one of his weakest, and he doesn't like that bush chicane. So hopefully we don't see him making any contact with it, but you never know. Whoa, contact there. I think that's Heathy and Alex McCready losing it. We're not quite sure. It kind of caught the back end of it, so so the 2 HB Motorsports are back down to the top 10 positions, struggling again after a really strong performance in Interlagos, and this is where they were sitting for Suzuka. So up and down for HB at the moment in those Hyundais, and that's Joe McCall looking a little bit more confident in the Nissan here, and he could get up into the top 10. Rob Pellet is really struggling, and he's dropped down dramatically. And that is Alex McCready's teammate. That is Daniel Stewart, who is in the gravel, and it looks like he has retired. He's going nowhere at the moment. Back up the front then, and there is Daniel Stewart. Luckily he's out of the way, and so the lead is now in the hands of Harry Cook, so constantly changing, as I said beforehand. And Craig is going to go up the inside of Harry here into the next corner. But of course Harry's going to have the advantage of the inside into the uphill chicane into the first corner. But Craig gets him on the outside. What a great move from Craig. So Craig is now leading, but Harry has gone up on the inside again. A fast right-hander, and a little bit of contact, a little bit of push, a little bit of shove, but it's all good. And Tom Foster and Mike Kuipers are now on the back end of this pack, so it's a 6-way fight for pretty much the lead of the race. Craig is still leading, Team Redeem still second and third, and they're side by side, and it really, that was shaky stuff if they're not careful. Tom and Mike really on edge, pushing it hard there. On board with Mike, as he's got all 5 of them in front of him, literally looking for any bit of space to get past, and there's just literally no space for anyone. As I say, looking for the space, but there's literally nothing, especially around this. part here. That bus chicane is a nightmare if you hit it, and it really slows you down. Even on the exit, you can really gain some speed if you get it perfect. So it's the difference between winning and losing a race. Darren on the inside of Harry then, and the two team redeems fighting out here, and he nearly pushes him into the grass. So they need to be careful what they do, and that's actually allowed Mike Comer to get on the inside of him for the next corner. So Harry was battling for the lead last lap into this corner. Now he's losing his podium position to Mike Comer. So Mike is up to third, but Harry's going to try and battle it out. No, he's not. So Mike Comer's up to third. Now Harry's down to fourth. Mike Kuiper's up to fifth. Tom is in sixth. So on board with Thomas. Mike now is going to push Harry, and Harry is dropping down these spaces potentially here. There's a little bit of push there from Mike. Oh, there's more pushing. And this is getting a little bit aggressive, but they're all still on the circuit, so it's all good. We continue. This is lap 10. This race has disappeared so quickly. Tom's on the grass. Whoa, Tom nearly loses it. And so Tom now is going to try and push for fifth behind Harry. So Harry, the pole sitter, the race leader at one point, is now down to fifth position. But this is what it's like up the front here, as Darren is now under pressure from Mike Comer. So Mike Comer could get into second here. This is an absolute storm of a race, no pun intended, from Mike Comer, as he's up to third. He's the podium. Could he get to second? Could he win the race? Mike qualified third, I think it was. So he looked good, but started mid-pack essentially, as the VWs, of course, front-wheel drive, and they don't. Oh, look at the move from Mike! Mike takes the lead of the race. MCR Storm are at it again, and they lead this race. Mike Comer got his first win at Interlagos, and he looks like he could be taking another win here, but it's not over yet. Craig is second, Darren is third. Harry's still in fourth, battling out with Mike. And Tom is tagging along to the back of this to see if anyone makes any mistakes. Freeway into the chicane. Tom is now up, and he just gets a gap there on Darren. So Darren is now down to sixth position. Harry's back up to the podium position. So Mike Comer is leading. Craig is in second, on board with Craig, and he's looking to see if he can get past him. Craig has led this race for a few of the laps, but of course he is under pressure from pretty much everyone behind him, and to hold on to that lead is really, really hard. So Mike Comer is now leading. Gonna lose my voice soon. Mike Kuiper's making some good progress as he's up to fourth now, and he's looking to see if he can get past Harry. I can't take my eyes away from this. There's so much going on. So it's still going on, but with Harry now has got the overtake done for Craig. They're side by side. Who's gonna? Oh my God! It's oh, Harry gets hit. Oh no, there's contact. That's Mike Kuiper's. Kuiper's has made contact with the wall, so Mike is out and down to sixth, and it's going to be hard for him to recover from there. So Darren is losing the tail end of this. He's still on the back of Tom, but this front pack is spreading out just a little bit after that incident with Mike. Can Mike recover from hitting the wall there? It's going to be difficult for him. Oh, there's a big gap here, look, but I don't think he is. So Harry now on the back end of Craig. So Mike Comer has got a bit of breathing space, and he seems to have pulled away from Craig. And if Harry and Craig continue to fight it out here, Mike is going to pull away even further. With just 2 laps left, time is running out for any. Oh, contact there from Tom. Tom hits Harry, but Harry manages to continue on. So Tom and Darren are side by side here. Tom is under pressure, and it's showing as well from Darren. So he is nearly losing his head and has made contact there. He got away with it. Back up the front then, and Craig is catching up with Mike. So Harry after that bit of contact with Tom has dropped off from the back of Craig, which is a real shame, and it's allowed Craig to get up to Mike again. And this is the site that we saw at Interlagos for race 2, and it was a close race then, so it's going to be a close race here. So Mike Comer still leads then, and he comes round the tight right hairpin and up the hill, and as he crosses the line and starts the last lap of this race, for a first race with this much action, it really shows what we're going to have lined up for you for races 2 and 3. And Craig makes a move on the inside of Mike, and he thinks second of it, and he slots back in behind him. Doesn't want to make too many brash decisions, and Harry's still in third, Tom in fourth, and he's really under pressure here from Darren. Now Tom is looking like he could make a move on Harry. And of course, he doesn't want to make the same mistake he made earlier. So Craig is now on the outside of Mike for the S's. He is really pushing him, looking to make to use as much of the track as he possibly can, and he's trying to find any kind of space to get past him. And Mike is defending really hard, and he's defending really well. Could Mike take a second win of the season? His confidence is really showing him, Mike, in that VW. And of course, Mike has got to use the soft tyres for the first time in this event. Of course, no one has used their tyres yet. Mostly they will use them in race 2. So, oh! Craig has hit the wall. So he's hit the wall hard, and so does Harry. But Harry's going to get past Craig. So does Darren. So Craig is down to 4th. Would you believe it, on the last lap? And I don't think there was any contact with anyone. It was Craig's mistake on his own. So what that means, Mike Comer is going to take his second win of the season at Dragon Trail. Mike Comer takes race 1 for Dragon Trail then, and it's a 2-3 for Team Redeem. Craig gets 4th in the end. Tom is 5th. He's dropped off slightly at the back end of it. Gary and Mike go across the line together. Kieran is in 8th. And look at the gap between everyone else. Oh, there's contact there between Alex and Rob. So that was aggressive from Alex. We don't quite know what happened there. We can have another look at that, but that didn't look quite right. Alex McCready is going to take ninth. Top 10 finish for Alex, but I wonder if that's going to get looked at. Joe McCall is... Whoa, so yeah, look at that. Rob is not happy with Alex one bit, as the end of this race seems to have come to a pretty awful finish. In the end, Joe McCall, Joe Burrows 12th, and Heafy in 13th. So let's have a look and find out what happened with Rob and Alex McCready. So there's Joe McCall's involved in this as well, somewhere in the middle. So Alex is ahead in the chicane. Looks like so Joe's made a mistake, hit the wall. It's probably Alex as well. It's very slow on the exit of it. And then Rob's tried to make the overtake, and Alex has just gone straight across the track. Well, the race stewards are going to look at that, as that just isn't on, and I think Rob here slows down because he's just probably frustrated. On board with Rob then, as they all go in the chicane. Yeah, look, there's Joe. And Alex, yeah, just comes across, not like he's done it by accident at all either. On board with Joe. Now Joe will make a mistake here, hits the wall, so Rob goes past, and then as you can see, Rob tries to get the overtake, and then Alex just forces him into the wall. Mike Comer just about hangs on then to get his second win of the season. Harry Cook and Darren Parker get the double podium for Team Redeem. Craig Kellett will be disappointed with his 4th position, with Tom in 5th, Gary in 6th, Mike Kuipers in 7th, Kieran in 8th, Joe McCall is 9th, Alex McCready is 10th, but maybe looked at with the incident with Rob Pellet in 11th, Joe Burrows in 12th, and Stephen Heath is at the back, with Daniel Stewart not finishing the race. In the standings then, Darren continues to lead with 143 points, Gary on 135. Only 10 points behind is Craig Kellett with 125. Mike Comer and Tom Foster now are joint with 108 points each, with Harry on 103 as he jumps up ahead of Mark because Mark hasn't scored any points here. Kieran continues in 8th with Mike in 9th, Stephen in 10th, and the rest follow on from there. In the teams then, Team Redeem on 243 continued to lead, but only 5 points behind are MCR Storm 238. K-Tech a little bit further behind with 201. Cannon Fox Racing on 186, of course only scoring with one car. Elliott Racing on 166 with HB Motorsport 139. Team Snap-on continue on with 77 and Team Speedy on 32. In the Rookie Cup then, Gary continues to lead on 178, but Harry scores well, so he's on 156 with Mike Comer on 126 and Rob Pellet on 113. Luke doesn't score, Alex McCready is on 73, and Daniel Stewart of course doesn't score as well, and he continues on at the bottom with 29 points.